What's a company secret you can share now that you don't work there? Story 1. I worked for a large construction company, and the sales guy would intentionally omit items from contracts because they received incentives for what would then become a change order. Me, you forgot to include any framing in this contract. Sales weasel, oh, I guess it's a change order then. Customer cries. We had a sales lady for a home we bought who actually said to us, hang on, you're changing this and that? I'm not submitting it yet because if we do it 3 times, you're charged 3 times, so I'm going to wait for the couple of days you tell me you need to finalize your ideas. Same person then went back to final sign the initial paperwork, pointing out the lot size is a lot larger than marked on the plan. Bad math. Said, you're right. You're getting a good deal. Sign right here, please. We'd given a deposit, and when we saw the error, needed to point it out for our own consciences. She honored the original deal. Got about a third of the lot free. Some people are good. Story 2. They are out of business now, but in the early 90s I worked at Radio Shack for a year and a half. People would return an item because it didn't work. The manager of the store would just box it back up and sell it again as if it were new. When I asked him about it, he said hopefully they will return it to a different store. I nearly got fired when I refused to sell a guy a walkie-talkie CB radio that I knew didn't work. The guy was on his way out for a hunting trip and was buying 3 of these for him and his friends. We had 2 and the third was the broken one. In front of the customer, I told the manager that one didn't work and I had tested it. The guy was happy I told him. We arranged for him to get the last one he needed at a different store and off he went. The manager was livid with me and nearly fired me. I'm sorry. I'm not sending people out into the forest with gear I know doesn't work. Hilariously, a few months after the manager was caught stealing from the store and got fired. Story 3. I work for a restoration company. One time an elderly woman called them to clean her house. She was a hoarder or there had been a fire. I can't remember. Anyway, the company charged her $57,000 for the work to be done, but in actuality, they couldn't even get the charges to add up to $20,000. She couldn't file this on her insurance. There are other examples of gross overcharging, but this is the worst I know of that wasn't on the large loss side. The lesson here, if you have water, fire, mold, or hoarder damage and call in a company to clean it up, go through every line item on the invoice. Every single one. I did have a mold remediation, and I did go through every line item and made them explain to me the reasoning of the charges. It ended up knocking off around $3,000. Story 4. If you don't hear music when you're supposedly on hold, the operator simply muted their mic and can still hear you. I've heard interesting and damning things while they thought I couldn't hear them. I was setting up a new account with the phone company, back in the landline days. I think the operator meant to mute her mic but didn't. She had to do some stuff in the background while I was supposed to be on hold or something. I could hear her typing, but at the same time she was telling someone in her office about a party she had been to the previous weekend. It was hilarious, both her story and the situation in general, but I couldn't laugh out loud. I had to stifle myself to hear the end of the story. Story 5. Worked at a major cable ISP, and there are 4 billing cycles. They upgraded the billing system, but did something wrong, and all but the current cycle got the late charge. But instead of fixing it immediately, we were told to credit their account if the customer called in. I did the math, and for the size of our city, and about 3/4 of the people wrongly charged, it was over $1 million USD. Most people just pay their bill and don't look too close. Comcast. They do this all the time. Not really worth the hour plus it takes on the phone for them not to steal from you, but it's worth it to them to steal from thousands of people. Story 6. The stain protector is only useful if you actually file a claim. It isn't a magic fucking potion. Most furniture companies sell some sort of stain protector as an add-on. People buy it thinking it has some magic ability to prevent stains over the life of a piece of upholstery. Then, 5 years later, spill some Kool-Aid on that shit, and the stain doesn't come out. With most of these protectors, there's a warranty claim process that will get you a new sofa, or a new set if your sofa pattern isn't made anymore, but nobody ever files a claim. That's the gimmick. The company is counting on you not actually holding them to the deal that they made you, and, virtually, nobody does. Story 7. Health insurance dude. When you file a claim, it is often denied because they are counting on you not escalating it. Once you do, your case goes to a medical management group, which ought to be called the We Don't Want to Pay group. Keep escalating and involve your doctor. Fight for the insurance you paid for. Story 8. Worked in insurance. Hundreds of people have access to your social security number with no security clearance or background check. The same is true of every HR office in existence. When I was in college, your social security number was also your student ID. This fills me with horror now. I worked in a computer lab where we had hundreds of social security numbers in our tiny database. Story 9. If you were on live chat with customer care, I could see what you were typing before pressing send. I watched people work through grotesque, racist, sexist statements, fraudulent lies and mistruths, meticulous grammar fixes, and their whole range of emotions in real time before deleting and typing. Okay. Story 10. Your luggage at an airport isn't really handled with care. I worked baggage at an airport. Nothing is handled with care. If it's marked fragile, your only hope is nice baggage handlers. You should avoid packing breakable things at all costs. Edit. Not totally true. I never had one, but we were trained on how to properly handle a casket. The training was, be very careful, do not drop it, and for the love of God, do not sit on it like it's a horse. True story. That's what our boss said. Story 11. Arby's manager replaced the expiration stickers on the bread with new ones. I guess so the bread would last longer that way. I threw out 100 plus pitas with green fuzz on them after checking the manager's work. Food-related scams like this make me so angry. Story 12. Morganton's 3 here. We're like cops, only answer the questions asked. Do not provide additional information to be helpful. It could screw you over. Story 13. I worked at L'Oreal. The cosmetics from L'Oreal and Lancome are practically the same thing, but Lancome costs like $20 more. Story 14. I used to work for a company that rhymes with Musbeed, and we used to have somebody post this question every few months for material for one of our clickbait articles. Story 15. Maple sap can be trucked in from other states, and where it's turned from sap to syrup decides on the state it comes from, not the location of the trees. Story 16. Inbound call center. The "we are currently experiencing an unusually high call volume" message is permanent. They didn't just staff adequately. Story 17. Olive Garden breadsticks are just Friends brand breadsticks, garlic salt, and butter. ETA? It's margarine, not butter. I forgot there's a difference. Story 18. I worked as a dog groomer for a summer. We gave your dog a treat even if they weren't good. Story 19. Oprah Winfrey had us edit her arm waddles in post-production. Story 20. Used to work at a graphic design firm. All our Adobe software was pirated. Story 21. The difference between the high-quality deli meat sold at M&S and the regular deli meat sold in other grocery stores is that we have changed the label. We would literally stop the production line, wait for the guy who ran the label machine to swap them out, and then start it back up again. Story 22. Hotels do not typically have security, maintenance, or housekeeping on staff 24/7. Once housekeeping finishes cleaning all the rooms, the entire staff leaves except for one front desk employee.